Just behind me is the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem ride. Let's go ahead and try this ride. Welcome to Pammie Plus Parks. I am Pammie, your plus-size fairy godmother, bringing you all the magic Universal, Disney, and Florida has to offer plus-size people. And today I'm going to give a try to Despicable Me here at Universal Studios Orlando. I'm going to let you know what it's like to get on and off the ride as a plus-size person, and along the way I'll share some accessibility and mobility information. It's important to note that Universal rides do not allow you to have a camera on the ride, so I won't actually be able to show you the seats, but I will be able to try the ride out and give you a good review, and along the way share a bunch of information that may help you enjoy this ride as a plus-size person or someone with mobility or accessibility concerns. Let's check out some of the warnings for this ride. This ride simulates the action of a high-speed aerial chase. The ride vehicle will suddenly and dramatically accelerate, climb, stop, and dive. The movement of the vehicle includes sudden tilting and jarring actions. This attraction involves strobes, laser lighting effects, and fog effects. Failure to follow posted guidelines may result in serious injury or expulsion from the park. So here are some of the people who should not be on this ride. People with heart conditions, back, neck, similar conditions, abnormal blood pressure, expectant mothers, motion sickness or dizziness, medical sensitivity to strobe lights, recent surgery or other conditions that may be aggravated by the ride, and medical sensitivity to fog effects. They ask that to avoid serious injury, you remain seated at all times, keeping your hands and feet inside the vehicle. Supervise your children. Uh-oh, we've got someone here. Children under 48 inches must be accompanied by a supervising companion, and children under 40 inches must experience this attraction from an adjacent stationary seat. Guests can remain in a standard wheelchair throughout and experience the attraction from a stationary location, or they may transfer. Guests using motorized wheelchairs or electric convenience vehicles should see an attendant for assistance. Guests with service animals should see an attendant for assistance. This does have closed captioning, and please see an attendant for details for that. Stationary seating is available upon request. For additional information, refer to your rider's guide. That rider's guide is located inside the app, or you can ask for a brochure. You guys might know my husband Mark has epilepsy, so this ride would be a no-go for him. He has issues with fog, strobing lights, and rides that kind of jolt you around a lot. Keep that in consideration if you have a similar condition to epilepsy. Now, before I go to get on this ride, I want to make sure you guys know what my size is to help you better see if this ride will work for you. I'm 5 feet 4 inches tall, I weigh 350 pounds, and I wear US women's sizes 26 through 30 or 3X through 5X. Generally, I find I wear a 4X or a size 30. Okay, I'm just stepping into the line now, so I'm going to be putting my camera away, and I'll tell you all about it when I get off the ride. Okay guys, it's time for a post-ride check-in. The ride was very cute. It reminded me very much of the movie, but let's get into the nitty-gritty and the details of the ride. Each of the ride vehicles has 4 seats in it, so if you have a party of 5 or more people, you'll very likely be split up. Each of those seats is like a bucket seat. When I reached the room where you pick up your eyeglasses, there was a team member there who was asking how many people were in my party. I let her know that there was 1 person in my party, and for my comfort and the comfort of the other guests, I would like to sit on the end of a row. She was super happy to accommodate me. In fact, once I made it into the theater to sit in one of the ride vehicles, it turns out they only sat 3 of us in a vehicle that could seat 4. That way there was a seat between me and the people next to me, and that made me even more comfortable. The ride vehicles have 1 shared lap bar that goes all the way across all 4 seats. Before the lap bar goes down, they ask everyone put their hands in the air. And I did that, and the lap bar came down, and my lanyard got caught on it, and it was choking me. So I had to flag them down. They lifted the lap bar up and I was able to pull my lanyard out. The lap bar came back down again and it was really snug against my belly, but I felt okay. It was at that point that there was an announcement overhead. It's a recorded announcement that says if you're at all uncomfortable, let them know and they'll switch up your seat. But I felt okay. I thought I was gonna be fine. As it turns out, that lap bar does tighten down a little bit more and the announcement did mention that. But I didn't think it would be that much. However, it was a lot. It tightened down like maybe 3 to 4 more inches. It pressed into my belly, just underneath my rib cage, even up against my rib cage, and it was very, very uncomfortable. First I thought, okay, maybe I can do this, and the ride actually began. The team member who is operating the ride actually keeps a close eye on the entire audience. I looked over at her and I just waved my hand and they immediately stopped the ride. When a ride gets stopped down like that, there's like a pre-recorded comedic message that plays, and actually everybody was focused on what was happening on the screen and the comedic message and how funny it was, and I don't think anybody even noticed what was going on. But everybody's lap bar's up and they made an announcement asking everyone to sit really far back in their seats. So I think people really thought the announcement might have been for them and not for me. I popped out of my seat and I went down the stairs. It's pretty discreet, the room's very dark. The team member then asked me if I would like to sit in stationary seating and I said yes. So she escorted me down to the front row. I felt like it was really discreet. I didn't feel like anybody was staring at me. Nobody laughed, nobody said anything. No one even noticed me. So even though I did find the seat very uncomfortable and I wasn't able to tolerate the lap bar, I was still able to enjoy the show. While I enjoyed the show, I turned around and looked and I could see the ride vehicle does do a lot of jerking like this. Like if it's facing forward and this is the front of the ride, it goes up and down, it goes back and forth, it tilts around and it jerks a lot. So although the ride vehicle stays in one place, it actually rotates and hops and bops around on its like pedestal. That makes any sense. So the vehicle doesn't move from room to room, it stays in that same spot, but the entire vehicle does jostle around. Keep that in mind. This ride is also a 3D ride and the effects are pretty crystal clear and really amazing. In fact, even though I was sitting in a stationary seat, there were times that I felt I was taking nose dives and flying through the air. A couple of times I actually closed my eyes, and I am not a person who gets motion sick. There were a couple times there where it felt a little too realistic. That's also something to keep in mind. So if you're someone who has some sensory concerns and you're borderline about whether or not you can tolerate 3D rides, I would err on the side of caution and skip this ride. Oh, one more thing. Since this is a 3D ride, you do have 3D goggle glasses. You can put them on top of your actual glasses. That's what I always do whenever I'm in a theme park. They fit just fine, they were very comfortable, and I had no issues. Now I've been off the ride for a few minutes now, and I have to tell you that I am still feeling a little bit uncomfortable. My abdomen feels a little bit of discomfort. If you are my size or larger, you can still enjoy this ride. Just sit in one of the stationary seats. When you go into the room where you pick up your goggles and they ask how many people are in your party, you just let them know you want the stationary seating and they'll make sure to put you there. The stationary seating rows are actually really, really wide and long. There's no dividers, it's just bench seating. So you and your entire family should be able to get in there very easily and very comfortably. There's also spots for ECV parking and wheelchair parking as well. Thank you so much for joining me today at Universal Studios Orlando and enjoying the Despicable Me Minions Mayhem ride. It is possible to enjoy this ride if you're a plus size person or if you have accessibility or mobility concerns. They have some options for you, so don't cross it off your list. Always try everything. Talk to your team members at Universal. The people who work here are marvelous. They're friendly and helpful, and they'll help make sure that you're as comfortable as possible. Thanks for joining me today, and remember, life is a roller coaster. Enjoy the ride.